Hello, everybody, and welcome to Cinema Savvy. It is myself, George, joined by Tate and Dave for the very first episode of a new series, the Untitled Monthly Movie Show. A name that's come late in the game, but we're sticking with it. It might sum up where the show's going to go. We don't know. But it certainly made it a lot easier for us coming up with a name for something by leaving it as Untitled, which many sequels could do with. Many films are called Untitled. Look at Disney's calendar. There's like 5 years worth of Untitled films that they've just announced. So
wasn't this like the first name we came up with? Like this
well,
was the placeholder name.
Yeah, like I mean, to get into it properly, like for anyone curious, this is a new show, so it's going to be a monthly stream. And we're going to talk about all the films we've watched from, I say the month before, the month we're in. We're going to at the end of each month. We're going to talk about new watches, films we've seen for the first time, things we've seen on repeat. Today's going to probably be heavily talking about Oscars as well, with the nominations. We've all been watching lots of Oscar films. But yeah, like a year ago, I think we're going to call it Letterboxd Logged, which is actually a terrible pun for what could be, a terrible bathroom issue. And the reality is that I just didn't get time to do it in the first month. I was like, I'm not starting a monthly show in February. Like, we'll put it on the back burner for next year, which I think worked out well from how everything panned out last year. But Tate, we were talking before,
Yeah,
and then you said let's make it more of a chilled out stream, but include what it was. And I was like, okay, I'll leave it with you. And then you called it the Entitled Monthly Show, which I think works. I think works in its favor.
yeah, totally.
I mean, I'm not here to blow smoke, but Dave, you're technically one of us, but not one of us, but you are one of us.
Yeah.
Like, how did that read when you saw the tweet? Because I was like, I don't know if people will get it. Like, this isn't us saying we haven't named it. This is the name now.
Yeah, it literally, as soon as it came up, I literally not just messaged you like, "Oh, it's a good title." I literally retweet like, "This is an excellent title. It says everything you need to. It's like an Untitled Monthly Movie Show. We're going to talk about stuff and movies, and who knows where it's going to go? Who knows what it's technically about? It might have a different theme this month to that month. It for me, it rounds out perfectly what this show could be."
Definitely, and kind of in line with that. Sorry, I'm just doing some socials because I've not done all of them. Tate, I'm going to hand over to you straight away.
Yeah.
When we were talking about this last week, I know I didn't tell you about the thumbnail. That came yesterday. That was me recycling a really good series, the new stuff, which was great when we used to do it. It was too good a thumbnail design to do. But talk us through some of your concepts and ideas, because as we said, there's no schedule. We've got a schedule, but not a schedule. We're not here to say we've set 10 bullet points of we're going to talk about the Oscar nomination drama for Best Actress with oh god, I forgot her name. The one that's caused all the aggro that the Oscars are meeting about.
Yeah, aren't they they're investigating that though, aren't they? Yeah, like they actually are investigating that.
They reckon Andre Risborough, they've broke loads of rules apparently about how you proceed in asking for stuff, which every Oscar campaign's fronted by money. This is one that just uses an agency instead. But that's not on the schedule. But it might come up in the conversation, and kind of that's how we wanted to do it, right? That's how we wanted to show that, like the older days, was just more chilled out. I mean, I know we began as a podcast. We had a structure on that, more structure than this, but it allowed us to sort of go off the cuff.
I'll put it this way. Some of the best film conversations I've had have been before we've actually recorded a Cinema Savvy video and after we've recorded said Cinema Savvy video. And we just wanted to kind of recreate that vibe. We just wanted to just talk whatever we wanted to about movies, have what's on our mind. What have we watched recently? Kind of like, what are we going to watch? What are some of the big talking points in film at the moment? Like getting people to comment along and ask us maybe a couple of questions, have their own input, and just make it as casual as possible. Because realistically, we're all friends. We all love movies, and sure, we'll talk about films all the time and go in and like actually review things. But with this show, we're not really going to be reviewing them. We're just going to be talking about whatever is on our minds, like having opinions about them and not being so kind of formulaic and just being chilled and having those conversations that we would have beforehand. I mean, we had a great one today. George doesn't actually know the names of the three Muppets behind Dave, which was,
No, I know Kermit the Frog. I knew Kermit and Miss Piggy, but she's not there. But this is kind of it. Like, when people do streams, we all chat before, we'll hang out before. Obviously, if it's a live stream, you're under the pressure of we've got to go live on time or near on time. And obviously, if you're recording like the James Cameron stuff, which is all pre-recorded to edit after, sometimes you'll chat for half an hour before anyone's actually hit the record button. Sometimes you won't, and it'll happen after. So it's something a bit different that's kind of nice at the same time. But obviously, as always, because we are live, we're doing these live. If people are watching, then we obviously want to hear from them. So what we'll do, because we know we're going to go through the films we watched this month, we want you to let us know some of the films you've watched. And I think what this show does in turn, because we're testing these shorts with The Last of Us, which I'm not sure about shorts still. And they're certainly not reaction videos. They're basically like adverts for coming to the live stream tonight, if I'm being honest. I don't think the shorts will be like a big thing. And Tayte, you sort of messaged like, why don't we do the short reviews? And I was like, not that we're going to do reviews within this, but we'll be talking about films that we might have seen that we've not got reviews out for, that we might not need to. We might have lost a window. They might be 30 years old. No one's ever going to want to watch them. So it's one of those where we can just like see where the conversations go. But as always, we just want to get people involved. If you are watching live, and if you're not watching live, you're not being left out. Obviously, we can't include you, but we will reply to comments because we know that everyone's not free at all times to comment and get involved. So do comment below if you are watching later, and we will reply to them. We want to know what films you've been watching. We've mentioned films a lot. We'll include TV. If you've watched a good TV series this month, you're watching a good TV series after The Last of Us again, because it is the best TV at the moment. Just it's not even a debate. Sorry if anyone tries to, but it's not. So yeah, just get involved. And if you like this, as I said, these are going to be monthly. And I guess we just don't really get to do stuff like this anymore, do we? Like, we've had years on the channel, and it's just nice. We've not got many big series this year. We're not, 35 episodes of Spielberg stuff was a madness to organize, which was great. But it's like, we know we're doing James Cameron for 7 weeks. We know we're going to do Mission Impossible for 7 weeks. We know we're going to do Denis Villeneuve for 10. That's not a long commitment. And that's spread out across like 10 months in theory. So it just opens the door. And sort of Dave as well, who is like a regular on the channel, it's nice to bring people on who isn't me or Tayte in a non-horrid way, because we can get different people's mindsets of what have they been watching, what are they up to. I know the people that don't follow you who should follow you, you've been working on a big series. Well, not series. You've been going through a big list of films. We'll mention a little bit later across the last sort of year, I want to say.
Yeah.
But yeah. So just comment along if you are watching. And as always, when we announce stuff, we put it on social media. And we always say this, but it genuinely is the best place to find out what videos are coming up. Twitter and Instagram at @cinema_savvy. Facebook and letterboxd.com/cinemasavvy. Link to Redbubble in the description where you can pick up some merch. It's not where you can pick up Dave's TV though, with the background. But yeah, let's see how this goes. And if this is shit, tell us. I don't think. And if it is, I'll leave the video up.
I mean, let's be real here. Even if it is, we don't care. We're enjoying this show, so we'll continue doing it. I mean, we've already got people in the comments already coming in and saying hi. So
we've got Martin, lovely to see you, Martin. We've got Elliot as well. Everyone subscribe to Elliot. I need to reminds Elliot. I need to message you. I was going to earlier, but I forgot. But it's on my list to do tonight. And we've also got Pete as well. Lovely to see you, Pete. Pete, did you go to the Fableman's premiere? Comment that if you did. Yes. How do we kickstart this, guys? I don't want to put anyone on the spot. So I guess what we'll say, we're going to go through the films of each scene. So if we start with me first, because we don't know how this is going to go. It should have been Dave first. Normally we'd put a guest on first. But we've not done this before. So the way we're going to do it now, not everyone has to have Letterboxd to be involved. Oh, Pete did meet Steven Spielberg. Excellent. That is a story. What an absolute legend. So I have my Letterboxd here. I'm not going to share the screen. I don't know how to do it. I've got
how many have you seen this month to start off with? I was going to say, how many films have you actually gone through?
Oh God, I'm not going to count them here. Luckily, it's January.
It'll have like a number on the side, right? If you've counted it for the month.
It will say on my profile on Letterboxd, but I think it only pops up on the phone because it's saying I've logged 500.
If you go on your stats for the year, your 2023 should have.
Okay, 19 films. I've seen 19 films. And it's the 29th.
I'm on 18.
I know. I did say that earlier.
I'm way behind then.
So what I'll do, guys, I'll go through. I'm not going to give a star rating or stuff like that. I'm going to say the film, say if I've seen it for the first time, and then I guess maybe after, if you guys want to comment on anything, or if there's something I want to comment on, I'll do so. So on New Year's Day, the first one I watched of this year, I did a tweet, and it was meant to be Do the Right Thing. And turns out the Criterion Collection version I have, I got it autographed by Spike Lee, and it came from his store in America. So he's got a shop, I think, in Brooklyn, which I'd love to go to if I went to America. And I just haven't watched it. It's on the list. I've got a list on Letterboxd called the coffee table list, where it's every film I own that I've bought that's on the shelves behind me or across my room that I've not seen. And it's sat about 120, 130 for quite a while. I'm just trying to chop it down. So it's down to 102, which is the lowest it's ever been. And then it turned out it was region locked, that it doesn't work on my Blu-ray player. So I'd said I got loads of likes on Twitter, and I don't care about likes normally, but I was like buzzing. I wanted to finally see it. I'd watched that awful it's not awful Kaleidoscope, the Netflix con of the watch it in however many orders they would assign you, which isn't true. And I was like, okay, Giancarlo Esposito, let's see some stuff from when you're younger, because I've not seen much. So anyway, due to that issue, I ended up watching Doctor Strangelove for the first time. Start with a Kubrick film, get an auteur out of the way. So I watched that in the first. I didn't like it. I then on the same night thought, you know what, I'm going to follow this up with another film I've had that I've not seen, The Fifth Element. Didn't like that either. I know Luc Besson's not someone you can talk about, obviously. Let's hope justice comes to the amount of people that have come forward. It's got Gary Oldman in it. I would be sold. Leon's one of my favourite films, but The Fifth Element, no-go. 2nd of January, I watched The Terminator, because, of course, we're doing a James Cameron series, so you can check out our Terminator review. I'll plug that. I'm not going to plug every James Cameron film to say watch the reviews. But then on the 2nd as well, I watched a lot of films in the first week of January because work was quiet. On the 2nd, for the first time, I watched Groundhog Day.
You've never seen Groundhog Day?
No, I'd never
before?
seen Groundhog Day.
Oh, man.
And I've got to say,
Jesus.
it's one of the best new films I've seen in a long time. Like, I absolutely
so
loved
good.
it. And I had an idea for a review that I won't. It's unfunctionable. It's the 25th. It's the 30th anniversary, I think, next week or whenever Groundhog Day is. And I was like, imagine if we had a review on loop for 24 hours. But it was.
With
this is what I come up
slight
with.
changes in it.
Well, no, this was it. So the goal would be to have 24 hours of the same review, but it's a different guest that comes on and keeps recording. So there'd be like, I don't know how many reviews that would take to get 24 hours worth. It would be too much even for me in too short notice. But if anyone wants to nab that idea, it'd probably go down a treat. But on the 3rd, I then watched Beetlejuice, another film I'd never seen. Get another Tim Burton one off the list, which I was pleasantly surprised by. I didn't know what to expect. I liked it. On the 4th, I continued my Adam Driver love fest, and finally saw the Man Who Killed Don Quixote, who absolutely I loved it. Loved this film. Terry Gilliam, being weird as Terry Gilliam is. On the 8th, I watched Alien. Obviously, I've seen it before. Ready for the Aliens review, which I then watched on the 9th. So 2 Alien films back to back. Unfortunately, I didn't watch Alien 3 or 4. Save myself the hassle. Then on the 13th, first cinema trip of the year. Oh no, just The Last of Us can't. I'm not going to count The Last of Us at the cinema. Sorry to brag that I saw it at the cinema, but I'm not going to count that. On the 13th, I watched Megan at the cinema. There's a review for that. I enjoyed it. On the 14th, I unfortunately rewatched Black Adam to do the 4K review. Unfortunately, my hopes have dwindled, and it is now not our least viewed video in history. So a non-thank you to the people that took the time out to watch that review for me not to recommend a film to them. On the 17th, I watched The Abyss for the first time, which... that was a fun episode to record. I'll give it there. On the 20th at the cinema, I did a love. So my Friday double bills. I don't know who knows about this. I love doing a double bill on a Friday. I finish work at 4:30, and I can get to the cinema what I go to for anything between 5 and 5:15, depending on traffic. And normally there's a film at 5. But between 5 and 5:30, you tend to get a film, and then like another one about 7:38. So I can always do double bills, and I'll try and stack up the double. So I did A Man Called Otto, which is the Tom Hanks film. And I absolutely loved this. It's very depressing. I knew it was about suicides, but I didn't know how good it was going to be. And it's also doing very well at the box office, to be fair. Like it's been a sleeper hit. Rightfully not nominated for Oscars. I don't think it was that good. But I've not seen the original Swedish film. So I don't want to draw in too much comparisons. I think it was A Man Called Ove was the Swedish. It won Best International Film a couple of years ago.
I remember it winning Best International
and
film,
then
actually.
The name attached to it was they were talking about getting Jack Nicholson out of retirement, and I think Tom Hanks, I don't want to say it was miscast because I loved him in it, but I think you needed like a Jack Nicholson, or you needed someone to just like Bill Murray would have been better, which I agree. There's something off about Tom Hanks in that, but he was great in it still. I followed that double bill with Babylon. Again, there's a review for that, which that was, the soundtrack was amazing. Obviously, everyone's seen it, discussed to death. You've got people that make it their personality to hate it, which I hate. And you've got people that make it their personality to love it, which I also don't hate, but I don't like this You're at two extremities. Like people can sit in the middle. There's not a problem with that. On the 21st, I then watched Devotion because the UK got fucked out of a. I was very annoyed.
Was that the Amazon one? The one that went
It
straight
is
to
the Amazon one.
Yeah.
The one that got an IMAX release in November in America and got straight to Amazon with no trailers in the UK. So, you know, that was frustrating. On the 22nd, I then watched Terminator 2. Obviously, the review's going to be out on Wednesday for that.
What a movie.
It's Terminator 2. Then on the 25th, when was that, Wednesday? I watched Terminator Dark Fate. So I've not seen Dark Fate. The proper Terminator 3, as they said about Terminator 3, as they said about Terminator Salvation, as they said about Terminator Genesis, and Terminator Dark Fate's Terminator 3.
Yeah.
So fourth time lucky, it was fine. It was fine. It's not... I know that James Cameron was involved. I think it would have been better with him directing it, just naturally, that there was some cool stuff. But it's been out a couple of years and no one spoke about it since. And then on the 26th, when's that, Friday or Thursday, I watched another part of the Adam Driver stuff. There's a film called Gaby, which no one's heard of. I didn't think it was very good. He's in it for 2 minutes. It came out in 2012. It's one of the last films of his I've not seen. And it's about a couple where they were best friends at college and they had a pact that, you know, if we're not settled down by this time, we'll get pregnant and have a kid. Because the guy's gay and the girl's straight, it's meant to be a rom-com about them going their own... They don't get together, not to spoil it, but I only watched it because Adam Driver's name's in it and it ticks it off the list. So it's one I don't know how that would go down. I even checked my letterboxd and no one I know has seen it, which probably says a lot. And most of the reviews...
It tells you more. Sometimes you go into that letterbox thing afterwards and go, I wonder who else reviewed it. Yeah. Oh, no, nobody.
Yeah,
no
one.
All right.
Yeah. And like I said, I didn't like it. And then today I've done a lovely double bill. I saw The Fabelmans this morning, which we're going to have a review out for next Saturday. We're going to go live, which I can't wait to talk about a little bit more. And then I watched this afternoon Triangle of Sadness because I've got to catch up with those Best Picture things.
Yes.
So that's my month so far / ending. I don't know if I need to see True Lies at some point in the next couple of days. But aside from that, again, we've not done this before. It felt weird listing them. You guys have jumped in, but is there any film on there that someone wants to talk about? Like people have mentioned about Groundhog Day that obviously they're surprised I hadn't seen it. Does anything else jump out?
Not films in particular, but double bills. I can't do film double bills. I've tried doing them before. I find it so difficult because I get so engrossed into like one film where I'm watching it, and I just want to focus in on that one film. I've done it before with film series. Like if you've got a series of films, like I did it with Star Wars multiple times over the recent releases and stuff like that. And I'm trying to think of the other ones which I've done. I've done a few different ones. I can't remember for what franchises or anything like that. Like I think Matrix had a re-release, didn't it? I'm pretty sure I watched.
Yeah, it did have. I watched it IMAX a couple of. Was it the year before? Oh God, I don't know. It's 2023 now.
Yeah.
2021. I think I watched it in 2021 in December. It was before the new one came out.
Yeah, but like I can't do like, okay, I'm going to watch this film and then I'm going to change the tone and do a completely different film or do something else. I don't know why, and I can't even do it whilst at home. I can do kind of when it's Oscar films, I can just get into the rhythm because it's like, okay, it's Oscar films. I need to just get through them. But if I'm going to do a double bill, I'd usually do 2 animated films back to back, or I'd either do like, something else. But I mean, I'll get into it when I talk about my films. Yesterday, I did a double bill of The Sea Beast and Tar, but I had like a 5-hour gap in between them to reset myself.
That's some trajectory, that.
But like, I find it so difficult to do double bills and stuff like that. I don't know about you, Dave. Like,
no, I think it is with film series. I think Terminator 1 and Terminator 2 is an excellent back just because you see Terminator 1, you go, that's pretty good, and then you get the masterpiece that is Terminator 2.
Or Alien and Aliens, if we're going on with
absolutely, yeah. But I think Groundhog Day, I'm so glad you're starting to see things like you said, you saw Planes, Trains, and Automobiles for the first time only when the 4K came out. So you start to see a lot of movies that I saw sort of when I was like some of these that were in the 80s and early 90s. So it's really nice that you're starting to see these as well and seeing some spectacular films. You've got so many out there that are great to be out the list. But Groundhog Day is one of my favorites. I can revisit that weirdly, the irony of it, time and time again. It's one of those that I could watch anytime if it's on. Like, I'll sit down and watch the rest of this now.
I mean, not to advertise the 4Ks and stuff, but you know, when you get like 3 for 30 quid at HMV and Savvy, like I'd love to dip in when stuff's on offer.
Yeah.
I think I got a Groundhog Day like a year or two ago, but the actual 4K transfer was incredible. That is actually one of the best transfers I've seen, and it kind of hit me that the 90s is now 30 years ago. Now, I know I'm not 30 yet, but it's like, you know, it's that thing what these films I remember not seeing that felt relatively not old, but I think it's going to be when it's going to be when Phantom Menace hits like 25. I'm going to get traumatized, but there's certain films that like jump out as a K like that. I guess what I've seen as the 80s for the 10 years I've been invested in film the most is now going to be the 90s. And kind of just off the double bill thing, Retake is interesting because I love a double bill at the cinema, but I'm not too keen on doing them at home. But I think in the cinema I can get in the mindset. But what I have to strategically pick that, you know, okay, sometimes it's got to work around how many films are out, what do I want to watch, can I make the function of seeing two work? I've never done have I done a triple bill before? No, I don't.
You've done Star Wars as a triple
just
bill,
depressing
right?
Yeah. Yeah, that was it. When I turn up in The Force Awakens, watch the masterpiece of you that's The Last Jedi, and then we had to move seat because of the BFI cock up for episode 9. But we did get the Tenet prologue, so at least that was something. But
my question now on top of that is, what is the worst double bill you've seen? Is there one that stands out or anything like that?
Oh, give me like literally.
I don't know, because personally for me, Sea Beast to Tar, if I'd watched those back to back, that would have been awful.
Oh, did you not like Sea Beast?
I mean, I thought Sea Beast was okay.
I really liked Sea Beast.
Here's the thing: the film would be way better if it didn't have any kid characters in it. That's just standard for animated films. But
do you want me to get my ticket?
Story itself was okay.
Because I started doing them because I've deleted my calendar. So I've got a calendar, one for the channel and a second one for our. Oh god, I'm showing people my room now. That's how weird it is. I've got a calendar for like not when I go to the cinema, but like if I'm at a football game. And I only started doing the double bills maybe like last year or the year before. Like I think I started hitting the point where it's like I can do 2 films in a night, but it's normally a Friday or a Saturday. And I've done some weird ones. I definitely
any ones where it's like 2 films in a row, you're like, oh, this one will be good. Oh no, surely this one will be good, and it's just been bad both times.
So this book I'm going through now begins actually. That's quite depressing. It begins the start of 2020, and then there's like a 5-month gap from obviously the fact there was COVID. So you guys keep talking, or if you want
I was
going to say
the only thing I've got in that is literally the Star Wars, the sequels. When watching them back again, I don't really do double bills at the cinema, so I don't have that sort of.
This wasn't an elite one. This was after COVID. They did an IMAX Dark Knight Trilogy Day at Cineworld. So that was the 3. Again, it's the Dark Knight Trilogy though, so it's elite anyway. Keep talking. Oh god,
we're going to. Fine.
Sorry, then there's like 5
actually,
things.
I mean, it's at home, but one of the best double bills I ever did. I can't remember what year it was, but I know that one of the films was Klaus, and I was watching through the animated films for the Oscars, and I think I did 2 Christmas films in a row. I think I did like something like Love Actually into Klaus, and I was just like the most perfect, like, oh, this is just so heartwarming, and just like,
Klaus, how Klaus did not get more recognition, how people still don't know.
It's getting more. It's getting more recognition now.
It should be someone like it's one of those like It's a Wonderful Life for me. Like that's a Christmas classic now. I have to watch when it comes to festive season. It's so good.
Like Reddit did a post a while ago of like, what is your perfect Christmas film? And I think the top comment was Klaus, and I think it's getting a lot more people watching it now, especially because it's on Netflix. It's easy to access and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's absolute perfection. I mean, there's some things to be said about Netflix and their catalog sometimes, but they do have the odd classic in there that you can just pick up. I mean, we're going to talk about it here, but I mean, how the All Quiet on the Western Front today was.
Oh my god.
I got to watch that. So that was.
I need to watch that again, but I need to put myself in the right frame of mind to watch it again.
I was going to watch it last night, and I was just like, I can't watch it before bed. I need to watch it. I'll watch it on the morning when it's bright outside, and I don't have to go to bed with it on.
I want to watch it in my. I got a kind of home cinema setup with a projector and everything, and I want to get some surround sound going for that booming soundtrack.
You'll be gutted you weren't back in England, Tate. They're the BFI IMAX in Central London is showing it on the IMAX next Saturday, and I was like, perfect. I'll go down for that, and it's at the same time as an Arsenal game. So unfortunately, I'm not going to be there.
That's a poor
I'm-
choice, George.
not at the moment. I'm going through these double bills, and there's some really strange ones, but a lot of the time it's genuinely just like these two both came out today, so
so you're
I've
still
watched
on board,
both.
Yeah.
So you guys keep going. I don't know if you want to go for someone else's, but I'm actually writing these down because I'm going through 2020.
Do you want me to jump into mine, Tate? I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, I mean, you've already started with All Quiet on the Western Front. I'd happily talk about that for a lot longer.
we'll definitely get back to. I mean, I've started my list. I'm not going to go through sort of date. Well, I haven't got that in front of us. So I've watched sort of 18 movies this year. Now, I started my year with just on the start of the year. I started with two just comfort movies. So I watched Empire and I watched Ghostbusters. Just two simple and put these on. I'm going to enjoy the hell out of them. Start the year, couple of movies. Now I've been doing since mid last year. I've been trying to watch all 95, 94 Best Picture winners over the Oscars history. So I've gotten quite far into that. I've just happened to got up to I'm up to The Sting, so I'm at about 19. So I'm about to watch Godfather 2, so whatever year that came
I'm
out.
very excited.
So you're in the 70s then, yeah?
Yeah, I'm just sort of in the 70s. So it's that's been really fun. So the first part of my watch has been a few movies that were on that list, and then it moved into catching up with the Oscars for this year. So I wanted to make sure I'd seen all 10 best pictures. But so this year I've watched I watched Empire and Ghostbusters. I saw The Menu, which I loved, and I'm shocked is not up for more. Like, I'm surprised that didn't take some awards. I don't know if the BAFTA's been announced. They have, haven't they?
Yeah. I don't think it's got much of the BAFTA either. Off the top of my head.
It
I know
seems a shame. It's.
I mean, I've
well
not seen
done.
it right. I've not seen it yet, and I will be watching it.
Yeah.
And it's one of those that it didn't work. I don't say it didn't work. I'm not bothered about the box office. It's took up its own life since it came on Disney Plus at the start of January. Had that been a month before, I think it gets nominations because all the talk has been January, not October when it was at the cinema.
Yeah. So yeah, I saw that. I did a Spider-Man No Way Home because that was again just an easy watch, and then it was into Oscar movies. Oliver, I watched. It was obviously Oliver before, but you kind of don't. It's been such a long time since I've watched Oliver. You kind of forget how dark it is as well as a movie. Oliver Reed in that movie is exceptional, but it's very dark times in London when it's shot. Like there's some very happy songs, but it's like lady whores and things around, and like children being taken from the streets and made to work, pickpocketing and things. It's like it's a really dark movie that you kind of don't think when you think of Oliver. I watched Midnight Cowboy, which was excellent. I really, really loved that. And I think it's just some exceptional performances that you get out of that one. It's one I hadn't seen and one I didn't know if I was going to enjoy. Obviously, he's turns almost like he's a cowboy, comes to New York, gets kind of almost set up as a male prostitute. It's if you get a chance to see it, if you haven't, I would recommend it. Jon Voight is excellent in it, which I would never say behind many Jon Voight performances. I'm thinking of Anaconda, so stuff like that. And Dustin Hoffman is exceptional. Had a wonderful ending that I didn't see coming, which was great. After that, I watched Patton, another war movie, which was okay. It was all right. And then I watched French Connection. A lot of these for the first time as well. French Connection, excellent. High Fidelity is one of my go-to top 5 movies. I will love that movie. So then my big one, I think this month, and probably the strange one for someone who's like, I love movies. I watched The Godfather for the first time. I'm one of these people who are like, I love movies. Have you seen The Godfather? No. It's just one of those things that have been on my radar. Like, I must watch The Godfather and never got round to it. Just one of those. So this Oscar viewing is kind of giving me this thing to pick up these movies that I just I say, I'll get to watch that, but I'll get to it eventually, and then other stuff comes like, I'll watch it, and all movies there. So yeah, Godfather for the first time was was something. It's just I knew obviously people talk highly of it, and you think, oh, right, okay, I'm sure it's going to be good, but then you get some performances that are just mind blowing. I mean, Brando alone. I mean, not a massive Brando fan outside some of the other stuff he's done, but he is exceptional in this movie. When the brother gets caught in a hail of bullets towards the end, when the car pulls up inside, they all ambush him. Oh my god! And then I love the whole thing. I just thought it was amazing. And then the Sting, which I thought was okay, but I mean, you're talking Robert Redford, and you're talking in his pomp and prime in that as well, and it was all right. I thought the Sting was pretty good. It was I kind of took it to back, sort of like, well, for me, like where Ocean's 11 was sort of taking its premise sort of from, on the heist and how they're going to do and win this money. I thought Robert Redford was excellent. It was a pretty good movie. And then I jumped into Oscar movies. So since the Sting, I've watched Banshees, watched Triangle of Sadness, I've watched Avatar, Fabelmans, Tar, All Quiet on the Western Front, and I also saw today a really schneidy version of Women Talking, which I actually really, as far as the movies I've watched, Women Talking is probably the closest to a play. When you watch it, it's very much, as its title would suggest, it's women talking. It's these women wanting to leave the life they're in, to leave the commune they've grown up in, and because of stuff happening to them in that commune. And it was a really interesting take, and I actually I didn't think I watched a really rubbishy. I found a website that had the movie on that's not out here at the minute. I don't know when it's going to be out or if it'll be
10th of
shown anytime
February,
soon.
for
10th
anyone
of Feb.
curious.
It's good, but I would recommend someone if you're into very monologue-y and very speech-driven movies that aren't. There's not a lot happens outside of these women and their discussions in what they're going to do going forward with their lives. But I really got into it. I really enjoyed it, and I wish I hadn't. I probably will now go to the cinema to see that when it hits. But I did watch a really awful online copy, which it was kind of like, all right, you could watch it, but it didn't give you enough. I think I'll definitely see that one again. But I say, yeah, I mean, of everything I've seen, I mean, look, I've said before on this channel how much I don't like the first Avatar, and for me, the second Avatar is the first Avatar in a swimming pool, and I'm sure people really enjoy it. It's made all the money, and I get that. I just don't personally get anything from it. It literally does nothing for me. I don't know if it's some of the acting in it's not great, and I don't know. I just see the first Avatar, pretend it's in the swimming pool. You've seen the second movie. Fabelmans, I really enjoyed. I really, really enjoyed the Fabelmans. I thought it was an excellent telling of Spielberg's history and his getting into film. I just loved seeing him coming at getting the cameras, and when he started shooting and making his war movies, and the scene where he's shooting the war movie, and he has. Oh, Tate, have you seen the Fabelmans yet? Sorry, I don't know.
I have
Spoiler
seen
alert.
Fabelmans, yes.
Oh, you have? Okay,
I know.
that's
I've
fine.
seen Fabelmans. I've seen Fabelmans.
Spoiler alert for anybody who is watching, but he shoots just one scene, and he has the big kid who's played the army sergeant walking off into the distance and tells him what he wants from him, and this guy just starts, emotion overcomes him, and he just falls apart. Just some wonderful scenes. And as we came on before camera, I thought Michelle Williams was excellent in it, especially that one scene where she's in the cupboard. I thought sounds weird, but she's watching a movie of her being caught cheating, basically. And yeah, that was probably one of my favorite performances, especially from Michelle Williams for a while. And then I saw Tar, which I thought was great. I quite enjoyed the performance of that. Kate Blanchett can pretty much do anything. I liked the subtext of how a woman could fall so far to be doing what she's doing at the end of that movie, from where she is, and how it hints very heavily at how she's behaving and why it all falls apart and crumbles. It sometimes seems like a psychological drama was going to go a very different way, into like a stalking sort of thing, or slight mild horror at points where things are happening in a house and she's not sure how. I just thought that was really good. And then, yeah, I say one of the other big ones I've seen is All Quiet on the Western Front. I'd seen the 1930s version only a few months ago after watching the Oscar movies, and I thought it was really nice to have this different take on it, because it's an entirely different movie when you watch the two. The old 1930s version, you get to see them on when they have their breaks. They get furloughed for a bit and they go into Paris and they're enjoying themselves. And you don't kind of get that breakaway in this movie. It's all while they're in the war. And the only time you sit away from that is the negotiations for the end of that war. You don't get any of the soldiers really enjoying themselves until, well, not even towards the end. You kind of get that last battle where the Germans won't, and certainly the upper echelons won't give up the fight until that 11 o'clock armistice, and leads to some really the final scenes of that movie just heartbreaking. I mean, it's the 1930s version. The lead reaches for a butterfly and he gets shot reaching for a butterfly in the very last scene, and it was nice that they've changed it. I don't know how it differs from the book. I don't know how good that is, or I've never read that. But so the 18 movies I've seen, I don't know what to say. The best one, I think The Godfather is up there for me. I think All Quiet on the Western Front is probably maybe my favorite thing I've seen in this month. But The Fabelmans, again, right up there for me as well.
Can I jump in with The Godfather?
Yeah, of course you can. Go for it.
When you I mean, listen, anyone that says they're into film, and certainly I would say under the age of 50, as an absolute minimum. No, I'm talking maybe people under the age of 60. There is always going to be. How have you never seen insert film here?
Yeah.
And that's why I'm way more chill. See, I know a lot of people that saw Godfather for the first time last year with the cinema release.
Oh, in the cinema release, yeah.
My dad was one of them. You know, I took him there. He'd never seen it. I'd never seen it on the big screen, and I think it's amazing. Like, cinema as a medium, not to get on sort of high horse type thing, but where we are in history now, you know, Warner Brothers are celebrating the 100th anniversary this year. I saw Paramount did it a year or two ago, or someone else that Disney's doing 100 years this year too. It's going to happen. Like, many of us, well, none of us are around, and you know, the first probably 50 years, 60 years of cinema or even a thing. And there's going to be a lot of films like that, and it'll be the same for me. It'll be the same for Tayte. And there's massive ones like now it's in Babylon. There's loads of. They kept going to Singing in the Rain as the obvious, like, what film was big in the 50s? Which was a bit when they asked the cast, what's your favorite classical film? Like 6 of the 10 just insert Singing in the Rain here, whereas a few of us were like, this. It's like, okay, they've seen a bit more. Not to slate them, but I love that you've seen The Godfather. That's the one that's jumped out to me.
Yeah.
Because I think that film's going to be timeless for the generations that follow. It will always be at the top of those.
It's the standard, isn't it? It's just the standard of the cinema. Like, it tops pretty much every single best film of all time list that goes.
I'm loving that Godfather 2 is next on my list when I get back to original Oscar movies.
I've not seen the third one.
So, yeah.
I've not seen the third one, mate. So just do what I've done. Seen 1 and 2, and apparently job done.
Yeah.
Before, like I said, I'm just going to bring up a few comments because we haven't written
yet.
And Triangle Silence, one of my favorite films of 2022. Martin's loving the Friday double bill tweets. I do always take a photo of the tickets. If you've got to be on Instagram, you get more spam than you. On Instagram, I've got this trend where the Universal logo appears. I'm like, right, Oppenheimer trailer, another story of the countdown. Not on Twitter though. Film 4 doing a Spielberg season. Yes, Minority Report was on a few days ago. A few people watching it. Which is the fact a director can have his own season. Oh, yeah. That will do a month worth of bloody filming content. And some double bills. Elliot has done Jurassic World Dominion followed by Top Gun Maverick. How epic was that round?
Wow.
I can tell you this, Elliot. I have done it the other way around. Sorry to take away. On the day of the Jurassic World press screening, off work for the day, I went to central London. And you know what? I've not done 4DX yet. If I'm ever going to do 4DX, it's going to be the right film. And it was Top Gun Maverick.
Nice.
And that was the most insane. I think it was maybe the 4th time I'd seen it. So I was comfortable. But that was the most insane experience I've ever had. I probably wouldn't do it. I was half tempted about Avatar. I thought, you know what? The thought of someone just dropping water on me for like 3 hours straight is probably not my sort of thing. So I'll stay with Top Gun for now. But I did do it the other way around. And Elliot, that was definitely the right way to do that double bill. And I've written down all my double bills. I've got the worst one by a country mile. But I've really liked one of the films. So I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've done about 15. And on paper, the worst one is... Oh, God, I can't read my handwriting. No, it's on this side. Death on the Nile. Followed by Uncharted. I really liked Death on the Nile. But I was there... Yeah, but I thought it was funny.
So bad.
Yeah, but it was funny, though. It was an ironic bad. There's some absolute wild ones here, Black Adam followed by Banshees of Inisherin, from one of the worst of the year to one of the best of the year. Yeah, just Moonfall followed by Jackass incredible. Random ones, Reminiscence followed by People Just Do Nothing. So yeah, I like my double bills. Sorry, I'm not counting festival because everyone's like zombied out from like here's a depressing 8 a.m. not slog, but it'll be like here's a film about institutional racism, which is great. I want to watch that. Then it's like now the next one's going to be a film about I don't know, like murder or something. Then the third one of the day is going to be like here's an outright comedy. And the whiplash never works at festivals. That's why I struggle at festivals. I think. But sorry to interject.
No, I was going to say, because Triangle of Sadness was mentioned. I think I did Triangle of Sadness. We were given the choice at London Film Festival this year, which was very stupid.
It was shared with Something Big, wasn't it?
Was it? It was shared with Bros, and I know a lot of people went to go see Bros, but I went to go see Triangle, and I really enjoyed Triangle. But I can't remember if I enjoyed Triangle more because it came straight after watching Empire of Light, or if it was just a good film.
It's amazing that can change your mood sometimes. The film you've watched before can totally enhance a film that maybe isn't the best, but you think, from what I've just watched, this was art. It's
yeah, exactly.
Do you remember when we watched Rare Beasts? I think we did Jojo Rabbit 8 a.m.
We did Jojo Rabbit and then Rare Beasts.
Worked.
And that was...
Yes, it's like, the Nazis and stuff like that. But it was...
Mate, you were falling asleep in Rare Beasts.
No. Yeah, Rare Beast, I was wiped out. And it's Reno. I can't remember who I was on with recently. It might have been Reese. And we're talking about Rare Beast after and Billy Piper. And I didn't realise that the whole film is about her being... Not to get into politics. It's about her ex-husband, obviously... oh God, I've forgotten his name. You know the bellend, the one from the family of the actors, who lost Nico Milana for Mayor of London. Oh, what's his name? He's an absolute moron. I'm glad I've forgotten it. Someone will know in the comments who I mean. Billy Piper's ex-husband. The whole film is about her ex, and it's going to really fucking annoy me now. But that's a good thing I've forgotten his name. Sorry to. So now I want to watch Rare Beast again because I hate her ex-husband, and I probably respect it now because the guy was a horrible bloke. Do you remember how horrible the guy was in it?
I do remember how horrible the guy was in it. And what's really weird is I remember it being really kind of like boring, the comedy being a bit offbeat and not my kind of cup of tea. And then it not being released for like a year and a half and then seeing the reviews when it came out and getting rave reviews. Like people
Lawrence Fox. Now in hindsight, I want to watch that film again.
Maybe it'll be... hey, I mean, there are films out there where they improve on rewatch. Like I didn't like Crimson Peak the first time I watched it. Now I think it's a fantastic film. Like there are certain films out there where your perspective on it changes over time and stuff like that. Saying that, I go into my films of the year. I don't have a specific kind of list of when I watched them, where I watched them, but I know the first 2 films of the year I watched was Matilda the musical, followed swiftly the next day by Piranha 2, the Spawning. So
nice.
Do you know what? Matilda kind of has gone under the radar. I really enjoyed it. It's
done very well at the cinema. It's done very well at the UK cinemas, hasn't it?
It's done like Greatest Showman sort of business, where Greatest Showman came out and people were like, and then it started grabbing its audience, and those people want to go and just sing along to songs and enjoy that.
I'm wondering, because, and this is where it becomes interesting, because Chicago was nominated for Best Original Song, but the song was already in the musical beforehand, yet Matilda, being one of the most prominent musicals of the year, hasn't been nominated for any of the best original songs.
It's because in America it went straight to Netflix on Christmas Day. I think it's up for Best British Film at BAFTA. And obviously it got a UK cinema release. It's still out now. So that was it. When I was debating between A Man Called Otto and Matilda, I wanted to do Matilda. But then I also thought that my parents want to watch it because we've got a family member that was in it. So we'll wait till it's out on Blu-ray. But also... the timing wouldn't have worked. I'd have missed the start of Babylon, which was an insane start, if I'm being honest. But,
no, it's a cute film.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a nice film. It's really nice. I've also been doing the I was about to say Spielberg retrospective, the James Cameron retrospective.
Yes, so, not just me, is it? It's so easy to say Spielberg retrospective.
So I've done Piranha 2, Terminator, Aliens, Abyss, Terminator 2, Judgment Day. Nice. Keeping up and keeping track, even if I'm unavailable for the reviews sometimes, just because of the workload out here, working in the evenings in Austria. Still watching through the film, still making sure that I'm completing the lists off. Apart from that, I've been darting around between Oscar films and trying to get all of the animated films watched for the Oscars. So I've been watching a few good ones, some notable ones. One which I thought was a shoo-in to be nominated, and then I watched the film and thought, "Wow, this is actual trash." Was The Bad Guys, which just solid premise. Film itself is completely fine, apart from the final act, which is awful, like really horrible, bad, awful. I've already mentioned watching The Sea Beast. Once again, cool concept. Very How to Train Your Dragon-y in its kind of like the monsters aren't actually the monsters, we're the monsters kind of thing. But then, I mean, I'm going to go ahead and say it. I mean, I loved Pinocchio. I really did love Pinocchio.
Yeah.
But best
You don't mean the
animated
Del
film.
Toro one, do you? You mean the other one? Yeah.
Best animated film of the year is Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, and it's not even close.
Really?
And I love my stop motion, but Puss in Boots: The Last Wish is genuinely the best DreamWorks film they've made since Shrek 2, and
I'm
also
go
on top
see
of,
it next weekend. Tip my
on
boy.
top of that, it is. I'm telling you now, it is. It's like it's done in the same animation style as Into the Spider-Verse.
Mhm.
It's brilliantly acted. The drama involved, the story behind it is incredibly adult and taken very kind of seriously. I don't know what I can spoil here with this film or not.
Which one is it? Sorry, again.
Puss in Boots: The Last Wish.
Right, here's my stance. Try and avoid spoilers because it's not in the UK. But unfortunately, I know you don't have Twitter, Tate. Unfortunately, Dave, you'll know this. Half the film seems to be on bloody Twitter.
Can I mention who the main villain is? Because the main villain is awesome.
You can say the villain is because everyone knows that's one of the scenes they keep sharing around.
The main villain is Death. Just Death.
Wow.
And it's not like, oh, kid-friendly Death. We're talking about pure nightmare fuel, like genuinely like could be out of a horror film kind of hunting
who voices
you
it,
down.
Sorry. Is it
who voices it? No. It's not a big actor, not one that I immediately recognize. Wait a sec.
Wait, this is the second Puss in Boots film?
Is it the third?
This is the second Puss in Boots film.
Oh, second, is it?
No, this is the second.
I thought this was the first one.
No, they did one. They did a DreamWorks one that looked like DreamWorks animation, like when it was after he'd been.
Oh, Tate, did it have the new terrible DreamWorks intro?
Yes.
I can't wait for the next remaster of Saving Private Ryan, where there's a 30-second MCU DreamWorks intro instead of Saving Private Ryan. You know, that just you know what? Not to go on a tangent because I know Tate doing films, but I hate these. I love the Marvel intro. It is incredible.
Yeah.
But all these franchises need to stop copying the Marvel intro. Dave, you'll be the same as me. The weird Star Wars Disney Plus intro, where it's like the cheap metal sculptures.
Yeah, awful.
We don't need a Star Wars intro. We know it's Star Wars. Slap that logo on and be done with it. And it's like DreamWorks don't need it. What's wrong with the kid on the moon? You know, I guess the logic of that was always meant to be Spielberg to a point. But the first one had Humpty Dumpty's. I'm intrigued now.
Sorry, Death is played by Wagner Moura, who was in Narcos. That's the only thing that I would recognize him in.
Okay, I need to see Narcos because
got a great cast as well, though. It's like Florence Pugh's in it as well,
and she's actually really good. And you know, I have many criticisms about, and I found this whilst watching this because it was like, oh, I can recognize the voice cast straight away. I just know for a fact who it is. And I feel like animated films have lost their edge purely out of the fact that they just use celebrities now. They use actors instead of actual trained voice actors.
Than actual,
I know that started off with Aladdin, and Aladdin was the one that kickstarted it. But I want to return to kind of the films where you don't know all of the actors needed. And I think Death in this film, yeah, for sure.
I can't wait.
Completing off the films that I've seen. Oh, go on then. Go on, George. What were you going to say?
No, I'm excited for Puss in Boots. It's out on Friday. My only worry is we all know the inside out story why I don't enjoy going to the cinema to watch animated films. So that traumatizing event from 2015 now, I will see Puss in Boots, but it's going to have to be like a really separate showtime with no one there.
I'm telling you now, like I think it's going to be popular with people who are a bit older just because the hype that's coming around it is a lot of people saying it's the best Shrek film since Shrek 2. So people who grew up with Shrek and Shrek 2 and the Shrek franchise and stuff like that will have kind of gone, oh, okay, maybe I'll go back and watch this for a bit of a nostalgia trip. And then they'll end up watching basically Shrek's version of Into the Spider-Verse with a fantastic plot, brilliant villains, great dialogue, and some of the most terrifying films in all of animated film ever.
Wow.
Like really, like I don't know how much I can actually spoil about it, but there's blood in this film. Like it's brutal.
It got delayed, right? Didn't they like delay it to redo the whole animation though? I'm pretty sure that's
And
what
it
I'd read.
worked. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
incredible.
they delayed
I'm
the
really
film just to
excited.
reanimate it.
Really excited.
I want to hype it up as much as possible. Finishing off my films is the films that I thought would be kind of big Oscar candidates and stuff like that. So The Menu, which I'm shocked isn't nominated for more like Best Picture, possibly even Best Supporting Actor for Ralph Fiennes. Like it was a great film. I don't know why it isn't given as much recognition. I know we talked about kind of the release dates and stuff like that, but you know, I really enjoyed it. Fablemans, really enjoyed it as well. Although I don't agree with Michelle Williams' performance. I like the closet
She's supporting.
scene.
She shouldn't be the lead. She should be supporting.
No, she's
actress.
supporting. Yeah,
And
exactly.
where's Paul Dano's nomination? Because I fucking love Paul Dano, and he was amazing in this film. One of the bleakest, most depressing performances, but there's so much going on in that. And I don't know how they've nominated the uncle. He's great in his cameo, but I'm sorry, but
Paul Dano was great. The broken husband that he plays
Yeah.
towards the end is just phenomenal.
he's so
I was going to say other Oscar films, Tar as well, which was a very interesting watch. Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. It's very monologue-y, and you kind of watch the film and go, oh yeah, that's why she's winning the Best Actress. Like that's an absolute given. And then the final film I want to talk about, which is really interesting, and I don't know where I'm going to stand with this because I think I'm going against the grain here. I think I'm going against what people might think about this film and stuff like that. I thought Banshees was a very mid film. I didn't think it was that good. I didn't enjoy it as much. I much prefer Martin McDonagh's kind of wilder dialogues and wilder kind of stance and the kind of subtle tweak and black comedy that comes with it. This was just, I mean, there wasn't much to laugh about. It was very subtle humor. And even if that was the case, it really is a film about nothing at all. And I can go with films that have little context and kind of not really be about anything realistically, but I just couldn't find myself getting on board with it. I enjoyed the performances, I enjoyed the cinematography, I enjoyed everything around the film. I just at some points didn't enjoy like the repetition of dialogue and just the, you know, just how bland it was in some places, how boring. And I know that's a reflection of the character meaning to be boring, but I didn't find it boring. I just found it very middle of the road. I didn't think of it as like an Oscar-winning film.
I think you're right that it won't. It's not going to trouble Best Picture in any way. I don't think it's there. I think the performances, like you said, are excellent. I think for me,
Harry
not
Keane.
Colin Farrell,
Brendan Gleeson.
Sorry, I was saying Domhnall, and that is son. Yeah, Brendan Gleeson I thought is much better in that movie as well. I mean, he has much more of a character arc to how his downward spiral goes. So I think for me, he's probably the better actor in it. But yeah, I know what you mean. That it is just a repetition of he doesn't like me anymore, and I'm going to try and make him like me, and like me again. No, okay, will you like me? No, all right then. Fingers, donkey, credits. So yeah, it's I know what you're saying. I do kind of agree. I don't think it's like I said, I don't think it's got any chance of touching Best Picture.
Well, that's the thing. I still think
it was going to win BAFTA. Here's my bet. The BAFTA will go to Banshees, Best Film, and the Oscar I think is going to Fablemans, or Top Gun. That's the median voting system.
I still think Everything Everywhere's got a good chance.
I can't see it winning the median thing because there will be people that dislike it that put it low. But Banshees, here's a really good thing.
Even the people who dislike it, I think, are going to get on board with it just because a lot of people are talking about it.
Without generalizing America, you got to think like, how do American Oscar voters tend to put the films they dislike? Things like Black Klansman that end up losing to Green Book. I think something about Everything. I'd love it to win.
The film is about a lesbian daughter trying to be accepted by her mother,
They'll
yeah,
just-
not a chance.
There'll just be something. There'll be something where there's a small branch that have an impact that don't like that. And Banshees is interesting. So I was with my sister's boyfriend yesterday. Well, I was with both of them yesterday, who's Irish. And when Banshees was coming out, obviously he's very proud. He's Irish. He loves Martin McDonagh's film. He loves In Bruges as well, which I film I like. And I've spoken to him before. He's a really good director. And obviously when they were around before Christmas, I was like, it's on Disney Plus, like I think this week. They were all really excited to watch. He was going back to Ireland for Christmas. And she texted last week saying they watched it last weekend. And they both hated it. And I was with them yesterday. And I get why my older sister doesn't like it. She's not massive on film, although she really wants to watch The Whale because obviously they'll come back for Brendan Fraser. And the boyfriend we were chatting, and he said that it's not that he didn't like the story. He says he sort of went into, obviously it's a fictional island off of Ireland, but his sort of criticism mainly it's an Americanization of the Irish.
Yeah.
And what I know, Martin, you're Irish. Start singling out in the comments. I'd be curious your thoughts on this. And he says what he hated it. He said it just felt so Americanized. And it was like, yes, you've got amazing Irish actors here, but he says nothing about it actually felt Irish. Just felt like here's America looking at how Ireland would be. And obviously, Martin McDonagh is. I know he's got an Irish citizenship, but he lives in London, right? And he's actually English. So I was really curious about hearing that because it's not something that's going to go down with a lot of people. And I think it will be the sort of film that BAFTA voters go for, but not the Oscar voters. And the more I've seen of it, I think, oh God, dear me, that's embarrassing. How have I forgotten her name?
Kerry Condon?
Kerry Condon, yeah, I think she's the best person in the film. Her and Barry Keoghan, I think. I mean, I love Colin. I love all four of them. Ignore me. All four of them are amazing in that film. And I love Colin Farrell. He's one of my, I don't say one of my favorite actors, but he's one of the actors that's really up there for where he stands with me. But I think the two other, not the main, I think the other two to me steal the film. And I'm more interested in their story arcs than the main one, which is fascinating in my own insight.
So talking about Oscars, should we ask, because Dave, you don't think Banshee's going anywhere near it, so
no,
I'm now intrigued. What are your Oscar picks? What are you going to pick? Where are you going?
I have my list. I mean, I don't know how you want to go through them. I know you did your Oscar review the other day where you put your predictions in. I don't know if you want the same of my 1 and 2 for them. I have them in front of me. I know I sent them to George earlier as well.
So what we'll do for everyone who's watching the Minus Now Predictions video, we do like an Oscars game as such, where we each do predictions. The rule is normally we do it on the day of the nominations. Or we couldn't get Dave. We said, Dave, great way to get you on for the first episode on Sunday. But if you want to get involved, I'm going to edit this link to put it in after. So if you're watching it after it's gone live, this will be up by now. But if you go on the Oscar predictions, we have a spreadsheet attached below. If you download it, you could just fill in your own predictions. You have to type. It's all drop-down menus, so you don't have to worry about having to have pages up, etc., etc. And if you send it over to us, we'll put it for our big Oscar stream, and the winner will get like an Oscar statue as like a prize. And the way it works is your first choice will get 3 points if it's correct. Your second choice will get 1 point if it's correct. And obviously, Dave's going to be joining us for the long night ahead.
Yeah.
Sunday the 12th of March, the same day as the Last of Us season finale. Good job scheduling, team. But Dave, do you have your list up? If you want to do it
here, I've got it in front of me. Yeah.
Perfect. So if you want to start at visual effects at the top, do your first, then second, and then we'll go down.
Oh, okay, and we'll judge you the entire way.
That's absolutely fair. You should do. Because best visual effects is going, of course, number 1 pick to Av. No, it's not, because that's just Avatar 1 in a swimming pool, Finding Nemo style. Best visual effects, All Quiet in the Western Front. I have gone with pick number 1, and Top Gun Maverick as pick number 2.
Interesting.
I
don't think you're winning that category.
I don't care.
Dave, it isn't your opinion. It's just what you think's going to win, right?
Literally, I've just gone with that. The Avatar has no picks in my list at all. Anyway, best film editing, I have gone with Everything Everywhere All at Once as pick number 1. Top Gun Maverick, pick number 2. Best costume design, I have gone with pick number 1 is Elvis. Pick number 2, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Best makeup and hairstyling, I've gone for pick number 1 as The Whale, and pick number 2 as Elvis. Cinematography, I have gone for my first pick is All Quiet on the Western Front. and my second pick is Elvis. Best production design, I have gone with Elvis, pick number 1, and Babylon for pick number 2. Next one is best sound. I have gone with Top Gun Maverick, pick number 1, and All Quiet on the Western Front as pick number 2. Next one, best original song. I've gone with Natu Natu from Triple R. And pick number 2, I've gone with Applause, Tell It Like a Woman, only because I really like that song. Best original score, I've gone pick number 1, Fabelmans. And pick number 2, I've gone with Babylon. Best animated short film. This was a tough one because I've seen all but one of them. I made a case of just trying to see them because obviously they're short. I've gone with pick number 1 is The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. That's more of a personal pick because I love it. I thought it was wonderful. I've loved the book since it came out. I really enjoyed that. But I also my pick number 2 is Ice Merchants, which you get the chance to see is really, really wonderful. I think it's only about 11, 12 minutes, but it's absolutely beautiful. That's pick number 2. Live action short, I've gone with An Irish Goodbye and Le Pupille for second pick. I haven't seen either of those at all, so they're just random picking names out of a hat for those, unfortunately. For best documentary short, I've gone with The Elephant Whisperers for pick number 1 and How Do You Measure a Year for pick number 2. Best documentary feature is All the Beauty and the Bloodshed as pick number 1, and what's it called? It is Navalny. I don't. Again,
Navalny. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Navalny.
Yeah.
They're just
yeah,
picks out of the air, unfortunately, because again, I've not seen those. Best international feature film. I don't think you can look past All Quiet on the Western Front for that without a shadow of a doubt. And I've gone with A Quiet Girl, which seems to be getting quite a lot of press recently as well for that. So I've gone with that for pick number 2. Best animated feature, I've gone with Del Toro's Pinocchio, and my second pick is Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. For best adapted screenplay, I've gone with Women Talking. After seeing that today, I've jumped straight to that one. All Quiet on the Western Front as my second pick behind it. Best original screenplay, Everything Everywhere All at Once, and Fabelmans for pick number 2. Best supporting actress. I toyed with which I've gone, but I've gone with Stephanie Hoare for the for my pick number 1, and then Angela Bassett pick number 2. I think everyone's kind of already given it to Angela Bassett for the scene where she says she's lost her family in the trailer that we all saw. But I don't know. I mean, Stephanie hasn't sort of received any nominations anywhere else, and I think for it to be given an Oscar nod, I think I don't know. I've got a little bit of a feeling about it. Best supporting actor, of course, is going to Ke Kwan for Everything Everywhere All at Once, with Brendan Gleeson for Banshees of Inisherin. Yeah, that one is my second pick. Yeah, I can't say it. Best actress, I have gone for Cate Blanchett for Tar, and my second pick is Michelle Williams for The Fabelmans. Best actor, I can't go past Brendan Fraser The Wheel. I haven't seen it yet, but it is out this weekend.
Friday.
It's I can't see anybody.
I'll be perfectly honest. It's one of those performances where people are going to be talking about it for years down the line.
Yeah, and I've gone for Colin Farrell as my second pick. Best director, I've gone for pick number 1, Steven Spielberg for The Fabelmans, and I've gone for Todd Field for Tar for my second pick. And best film, I have gone pick number 1 is Everything Everywhere All at Once, and second is All Quiet on the Western Front.
Excellent. I would be very happy if All Quiet won best film. I'm not going to lie, but I don't think it's going to happen.
This feels like the most open year. This feels like the most open year in a long time for a lot of categories. I think the only one, because I'm a view, David. Steph, I mean, I don't like slagging off like performances, but for Everything Ever All at Once, my horror across award season was seeing the wrong nominations for supporting actress. And that, I think and this is me, and I don't think Jamie Lee Curtis is any good in that film, and maybe I'm in the massive of minorities, and I love the film. Maybe it's a character I just disliked, but the performance is definitely not Oscar worthy, and she's not the best supporting actress in that film. However, Stephanie Sue, on the other hand, I think has been amazing in that film.
Yeah.
She is the glue for that film. And I was horrified every week. Oh, BAFTAs, we're not going to nominate her. I was so delighted at the Oscars because I didn't expect it.
Yeah.
And obviously, it was, you think it would be Jamie Lee Curtis or Stephanie Sue, but the fact both got in, I thought was great. I think it was the right thing. And I'm very curious because I do think Angela Bassett's going to waltz it. But it is,
and also
there's something about
not picking Avatar for the effects categories is out of
might
spite.
just surprise you.
There
There might be a lot of people like me who just hate blue people in film and think it should just be an animated movie.
Do you remember when what's its name? Star Wars: The Force Awakens lost out to what's the really good sci-fi robot film with Oscar Isaac?
Ex Machina.
Ex Machina. One of the biggest ever upsets that the film with like a $15 million budget won best VFX over all the blockbusters.
Is excellent.
You never know. It was.
It is excellent.
But yeah, that's Dave's nomination. As we said, March the 12th is the Oscars night. We'll be live as we do every year. We'll be going through them. If you do want to get involved, as we said, if you're watching in the future, there'll be a link in the description to get involved. If not, just go on the channel onto the Oscars video. And we'll put it in. And obviously, actually, we're not going to sit here and tee up loads of stuff coming up. But obviously, we've got an Oscars playlist. And I was doing some digging. We've got 7 of the 10 Best Picture films on that playlist already reviews. The 3 we need to do are Tar, Fabelmans, and Women Talking. Obviously, Fabelmans we're locked in for next Saturday. And there'll be a lot of other Oscar reviews. We tend to look at some of the actor ones, don't we? So any announcements we'll put on our socials for the Oscars. We'll have the animated live stream that we do every year as well. So there'll be a lot of Oscar videos over the coming months, just because it is a big part of the film calendar. Like award season, to me, the beauty of award season is that when it's over, it's blockbuster season, which is where I really get to kick in. And this time of year, I prefer. Obviously, we're doing the James Cameron with his higher budget films, but I'm normally on the dramas, the smaller films, like trying to catch up. And certainly with seeing Babylon and Fabelmans, I'm like, I should see some more silent era films. I should see some more like 50s Hollywood films. And what I would say is, for anyone that didn't like Babylon or did love Babylon, it's not a problem either way. It makes me really want to watch Hail Caesar again, which I thought was a magnificent film.
Hail Caesar's great.
Yes.
I love that. Elliot's leaving. Elliot, no worries. Enjoy your night. I'll drop you a message after this. What I was going to message you earlier because I literally forgot. But yeah, I don't want to say that wraps up the video. That's the core of our schedule. Do we need to talk about anything else? Is there anything someone's come up with they want to chat about? I did think February's a pretty dead month, but are there any films that jump out that we're looking forward to seeing in February? Maybe that's a nicer way to end it.
Yeah, I mean, I look forward to completing the Oscar list for this year. I've still got Women Talking to see. I don't know when I'm going to be able to see Avatar because it's only showing in German at the moment out here. So I may have to just bite the bullet and watch it in German. Does it matter if it's in English or German? That's my question to Dave's obviously shaking his head.
Papa's subtitles at the bottom.
Yeah.
The German dub would be quite something, though, for the German
actors. The German actors who play the young the
kids. Could you imagine the accent?
Navi might be actually better actors than the ones they picked for the actual English version. So you may get a...
It's so funny because I just had a look at my cinema's weekly showing for what's going to be dubbed into English this week. Of all the films to be dubbed into English and have a showing, All Quiet on the Western Front is going to be dubbed into English this week.
Oh no!
Which is just
I'm
guessing because it does defeat the purpose of the film, and I loved watching it in German with the English subtitles. I don't know how I feel about it.
1930s version, if you want that from it.
I know, but like watching a German film dubbed into English, it's just like, why would you do that? Like, watch it in its original language, watch it with subtitles and stuff like that. But at the same time, I'm kind of tempted just for the cinematic experience of it.
It was one of my favorite bits of wasn't favorite bit, but made me laugh in Avatar. I'm sorry, I'm going back to it again. Just I know people can hate me on it. I'm sorry. They did the thing that Tom Cruise did with Valkyrie, where they start speaking in German, then in about a minute and a half, start speaking in English. Do the same thing in Avatar, where he starts with saying, and now I've been speaking this language for so long, it's like it might as well be English, and then changes to English. It's like,
it works though. Imagine a whole subtitled film for a fictional language.
You're right, George. It does work. It doesn't work.
you know what I mean? They're like, how much worse would it be for an entire subtitled 3-hour film where you're not looking at the screen, you're looking at the text? Not that I'm against foreign films, that sounds really bad, but at least the foreign films being real languages. You know,
Yeah, okay,
I'm all for that.
Yeah.
Would
Yeah,
you want
whatever.
Hutties Star Wars? No thanks.
I love that.
You know you would love that. It's
Yeah, I
like,
really
you don't
would.
even
Yeah,
tempt
sorry,
you for
that's,
I'd
that's just
take a
gonna be good
Geonosian one. That'd just be the weirdest sound experience of your life.
just clicks and picks and yeah, awesome. Oh,
I'll tell you one film that if I'm looking into Feb, and there's not that many out. UK wise, a lot of it's
The
going to be
Whale,
Oscar
yeah.
films.
Mm.
The Titanic 4K, speaking of James Cameron, and not to hype up the show, the Titanic 4K re-release is happening on February the 10th. And they've now confirmed the IMAXs are going to be the high frame rate thing, which I can't wait for, because I'm curious as to how on earth a high frame rate experience will work on a film shot on 24 frames per second in the late 90s. So I'm all for James Cameron wowing me with his new technology that he's applying to his old films. Hashtag get on with the Aliens 4K cut, get on with the Abyss 4K cut, get on with the True Lies 4K cut, because there's a lot of things he's left out. But a film that I think everyone's going to be raving at the end of February is Cocaine Bear, because the runtime is now confirmed at 1 hour 35 minutes, which means
that's nice.
it is gonna be perfect. I just need, I love on a Friday night, if I've gone out to the cinema and I'm back or whatever, I'm quite like a late night person. I'll go to bed like 3 a.m. a lot of the time, and I love putting a film on at like 11:30, 12. And The Conquest is getting something that's like under 90 minutes, and it's so hard these days. But Cocaine Bear at 1 hour 35, it doesn't need to be longer. It's a film about a bear that takes cocaine, for God's sake.
amazing.
It just needs to be ridiculous. It does need to be drawn out, and that's why I'm very excited for that one for next month. But I'm guessing everyone's going to talk about Ant-Man probably.
Yeah, that's the one I was going to say. That and the M. Night Shyamalan. Knock at the Cabin with Dave Bautista in it.
Dave.
Looks really interesting. So I'm,
Rupert Grint in as well.
It does have, Ron Weasley himself is there, yep. So
and,
I think I'm really interested to see what it is.
Is Dave Bautista the new Harry Potter then?
He is the new Harry Potter, yes, absolutely. The scars in his head are chair shots, though.
Hogwarts Legacy is out next month. I know that people have got opinions on it, but an RPG in Hogwarts, I will be playing it. I'm sorry, I will be playing it. Because it's now confirmed you can kill the other students. And that sounds so sadistic, but what was the first meme? They'd got the Anakin Skywalker, I killed them all, not just the men, but the women and children too. They put it of Anakin in the Great Hall. But that game is going to be carnage. There's no Quidditch though, which annoyed me. Like I know people don't want to hear it, but you got to do everything at Hogwarts. You got to play Quidditch, man. Like it probably means they're going to do a Quidditch game next or something. But that's because there was a trailer for that at the cinema. Like it's always weird getting game trailers at the cinema. And I had it this morning before Fabelmans. Like you had like the Whale, Ant-Man, and a few like Oscar-y type films. And it was like Hogwarts Legacy, and I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot that they're doing trailers now. But yeah, that's going to be fair. And I guess this is a polite way not to like end the stream suddenly, but because this is the first episode of this, and it has been a great video to do, everyone. I'm not just saying because we're live. I'm not saying because people have been commenting. It's nice to be more chilled out. And like I said, there's a structure, but there's not a structure. We can take it as we'd like with this. We're going to talk about the films of sin. And I guess it's one of those where, each month we'll come back. And if there's been we'll probably talk about the Oscars next month, but it won't be like it has been today with nominations, because we probably would have seen pretty much everything.
Are we going to discuss who's slapping who this year? Is that what taking bets on?
If I come on the Oscar stream this year and there's no wrong announcement for winner, if there's no slaps, I'm going to be so disappointed. If it's just a mundane happy Oscars, I'll be really upset.
They give the award to someone else and then just cut the awards at the end, like change the schedule.
They'll probably have.
We're going to finish with foreign language film last. We're going to have All Quiet win Best Picture, and then they're going to turn around and give like foreign language film to Argentina, and then they cut the stream.
Because Jimmy Kimmel's hosting it. I love Jimmy Kimmel. I think he's the best of the two Jimmys that do talk shows. Not that there's much difference between the two, but my theory is someone's going to make a really shit, boring Scientology joke at Tom Cruise sat in the crowd, and he's just the camera's just going to pan to him, and it's just going to it's just going to be this face where it's really like mask on, And then the next day, like this person goes missing on their
And then
way.
Top Gun Maverick wins Best Picture, and he jumps on the podium, and Oprah's there, and it's going to be amazing.
I mean, I want to just point out this is completely separate, but the leader of Scientology has apparently gone missing this week, and that is an actual news story.
Keeping them away from the Oscar ceremony. That's why
he was apparently dodging tax. No, was it like child trafficking or human?
The mothership?
Was it human? Something. It was either human trafficking or like I don't know
Andrew
what
Tate,
he was doing. I mean,
I know he's gone for the born again thing. I don't really follow it that much, but
no.
I saw he was trying the born again narrative, but it wouldn't surprise me.
We'll stay away from that though.
Yeah.
Arrest traffickers. Let's get that one out there. And MPs that don't pay their taxes, because the one that got sacked today is the constituency in the area that I work in, which is funny.
Hey.
But yeah, it is going to be interesting. I mean, like I said, we're going to have the BAFTAs are the 12th in 2 weeks.
Mm.
And I think just the BAFTAs has made it their thing now to not be opposite to the Oscars, but it's British
no longer
Academy.
The precursor, is it? Yeah, it's no longer.
Yeah,
like,
it's still the precursor.
If they win that, they're going to get an Oscar. It's not that take anymore.
They are slowly moving towards like we're going to go for the not British films, but there's certainly that British bias, which, if I'm being honest, it should be for a British Academy Film Award show. You know, I don't mind some of it, but like Fableman's having 1 BAFTA nomination, but then like 7 Oscars. That's when you're like, what? And it's the whole like Denzel Washington, like 10 Oscar nominations and 0 BAFTA nominations. You're like, what? You know, you can look into that in its own way for very different reasons, but it is one of them where, you know, we'll be back next month. We don't know the date, as we always say. Put them on social media when we know. I mean, what we said, Tayte, like it's going to be like the end of each month, and I think we aim for a weekend or obviously like at the end of a month. So when we have details, we'll put them on socials because it's been a fun video. I mean, and Dave, I'm not uninviting. I'd love to have you back on. And if this works, we could even maybe have a 4th one if time made it work. So it's one of them where, you know, Dave's like, thank God for this, I'm done now.
You never get rid of me fully. I'm always around, just hanging about, waiting. Just is the invite coming today?
But this is it. And like I said, you know, it's a monthly stream. It's chilled out. And if you are watching, if you've got suggestions of maybe things you'd like to see us talk about, maybe there's going to be a mega news event at the end of February. And we'll maybe look into something like if it was, I mean, like Avatar overtaking Force Awakens today to be the 4th highest grossing film in history. That's pretty. I didn't think Avatar was going to flop. People thought it would be stupid, but I don't think anyone can seriously outright say I knew this would hit 2 billion. I don't think many said that, which is insane. And my theory is that it's going to overtake Titanic next week because it's $70 million off, and then Titanic's re-released the week after, then re-overtakes Avatar. So James Cameron has become the Pixar chess playing man from that short film. With himself, with 3 out of the top 4 highest grossing films in history, because that is absolutely insane that James Cameron has that, which is just insane. But as we said, we want to hear from you. So if you're not watching live, please do comment below with the films you watch this month. Get involved with your Oscar predictions. We've had a couple come in. They're on the spreadsheet. And we'd love to get you all involved as we do build up over the Oscar month. So as I said, it's a new episode. It's a new series. We hope you've enjoyed it. As I said, all feedback is good feedback for this. I think people liked it. But as I said, you know, it's just one of them where things are a bit different, and I don't really know how to outro out. So I'm going to hand over to Tayte to try and figure out an outro, or to pass to Dave whilst I bring up. We've got Martin saying he enjoyed tonight's chat. And this is it. It's been lovely to get people involved. But yeah,
I'll outro it. Socials, here's everything. We've already done that, but go for it again. Dave, your socials as well, if you want to just bleep them out very quickly.
You can find me mostly around here, because other than that, and my Twitter, I'm about. But yeah, they did Brian on Twitter, or I'll be back here certainly for Oscars night, which I can't wait to be part of the stream for that.
This was the Untitled Monthly Movie Show. We'll see you in February.